Beneath the expansive sky mottled with a twilight that never quite surrendered to darkness, Ethan stood alone at the Norwegian coast, eyes fixed towards the surreal glow of the midnight sun. It was a phenomenon that captivated many, but none perhaps as keenly as Ethan, whose life had been a series of deliberate journeys aimed at capturing such fleeting, ethereal moments. Ethan's obsession with the road less traveled began in his youth, in the sun-drenched fields of Tuscany, where he spent his summers wandering through vineyards, learning the delicate dance of soil and sun. Each destination thereafter was a chapter in his personal anthology of explorations, driven not by the pursuit of leisure, but by a relentless quest for transformation. But here, in the Arctic Circle, was a confrontation with solitude, unlike any he had known. The decision to chase the midnight sun had come on the heels of a particularly grueling year. His relationships had frayed under the weight of his absence, and his last expedition to the rugged terrains of Patagonia had left him both physically and emotionally spent. Norway promised a different sort of isolation, one not just of geography, but of spirit. And so, Ethan arrived in Tromsø, armed with little more than his backpack and a resolve to witness the sun that never set. The locals, familiar with the draw of their eternal daylight, offered tips with a mix of pride and warning. The sun, they said, could play tricks on the mind in unending daylight, warping solitude into loneliness, bending thoughts until they fractured. Ignoring caution, Ethan trekked further north, each step a deliberate stroke in the canvas of his journey. By the time he reached the coastal cliffs of Nordkapp, he had shed the excesses of tourist trappings and found a rhythm in the harsh, beautiful sterility of the Arctic landscape. Here, amidst craggy rocks and the ceaseless murmur of the ocean, he pitched his tent, a solitary speck against the immensity of land and sky. The days melded together, marked not by the clock, but by the subtle shifts in the hue of light. Pages of his journal filled with reflections more candid than any he had penned before. Solitude, Ethan realized, was not the absence of noise, but the presence of an unfettered mind. And here, under the light of the midnight sun, his mind roamed as wide as the landscapes before him. It was during one such meditation, his gaze fixed on the horizon, that Ethan saw a figure approaching. A woman, her hair mirroring the golden hues of the sun, walked towards him. Her name was Liv. Like him, she had ventured far beyond her usual boundaries, drawn by the lure of endless day. Together, they shared stories, their voices filling the silence that had so filled Ethan's days. In Liv's laughter, Ethan found a melody that the lonely winds could not carry, and in her dreams, a reflection of the freedoms he sought. The midnight sun, eternal and unyielding, watched as two lone wanderers found solace in each other's presence. When the time came for them to part, the horizon was less a limit than a promise that the road would always offer more sights to see, more souls to know, more lives to touch. Back in Tromsø, preparing for his journey home, Ethan felt a weight lifted. The solitude had not broken him, it had built him. Strengthened by the unyielding day and softened by the human connections within it, he was ready to face the worlds within and without. As his plane ascended, the midnight sun dipped below the horizon for the first time in months, a farewell wink to the traveler who had dared to live beneath its watchful eye. And Ethan smiled back, his heart full, his journal complete, and his eyes ever forward to the next horizon.